Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of XtalknIsh with your boy X. No ish.
Oh, any boy ish.
Oh man, sleep over there, homie. Oh, you all right? I know it's Sunday morning. I know it's early, but we need to wake up over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink some more of this coffee.
I thought I was on a tape delay for a second, or I was muted or whatnot. Anyways, if you are on Facebook, please go ahead and check us out at XtalknIsh. As well, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future.
Ding.
There we go, man. Ooh, Ish over here.
I'll drink coffee.
No excuses. No excuses to get together. All right, you already know what to do. If you are on Twitter, want to check us out, Periscope, XtalknIsh, and as well check us out on my personal page at X_Williams81. I'm going to go ahead and retweet it right about now. So, with that being said, y'all know why y'all are here. It is Sunday morning. You know why we are on the broadcast, letting y'all, of course, know the previews of week 4 and the slate that we have on this Sunday morning. And if you woke up, last hour or two, you might have saw on your screen there was some football being played as early this morning if you have the NFL Network. Unlike myself, I don't have NFL Network, but I did know that, of course, there is a game being played right now. Of course, that is the Vikings and the Saints. Vikings are a 4-point favorite. And, of course, last time we checked with the game, it is 13-7 at
They're about to kick off the second half right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if you are, of course, active in the early parts of the morning before the NFL slate kicks off, usually at 12 o'clock Central Time or 1 o'clock Eastern Time, then get you an early morning treat of some football with some, I'll be honest with you right now, Ish, 2 underachieving teams in the NFC. 2 underwhelming.
Say underachieving for you.
I know the season just started.
Your Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings. I got that 2 concussion this morning.
Because they should be 3-0 right now. And also as well, they just don't look. They don't look the way that they supposed to look right now at this moment. Now, don't get me wrong; it's not midseason yet, so they obviously haven't hit their midseason stride or anything like that yet. But I expect the Minneapolis Vikings to hopefully maybe be in the conference championship game by the end of the season. But right now, beginning of the season, it doesn't look like to me they're one of the better NFC teams. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of injuries going on in the NFC and also around the NFL. There are a lot of still shakeups going on to where the NFC is still wide open. It's still anybody's game. They are 2-1. If they win this game, they'll be 3-1, of course. And we'll see what happens with that. At the moment, Ish and I, looks like we agree when it comes to the Vikings winning this game. Honestly, Ish, I might have picked the Saints if Jameis was playing, but also with Alvin Kamara being out as well.
The Red Rocket? You don't believe in the Red Rocket?
Maybe if this was Katie, maybe this was Katie High School or something, but not in professional football. Especially with the performance he put up in Dallas in his last stint. I think it's unfortunate for Mr. Red Rocket, but it seems though he will be the rest of his NFL career. He will be our backup. It gives him an opportunity to be able to step in for Jameis and play well, to where it might earn him another year to be a backup somewhere, or either with the Saints. But for him to come in on a week where you travel, of course, overseas to, of course, the London Jags facility to play there, I just don't think that they will carry the same type of magic that the London Jags do when they go overseas.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's honestly the reason why I didn't pick them as well. I don't have faith in the Red Rocket, and then not to mention Melvin Ingram. Father Time gonna start catching up a little bit with you, Mr. Melvin. So I just didn't think he could carry the load. Not to mention, I think Michael Thomas is out as well.
Oh, you mean Mark Ingram?
Mark Ingram.
I was thinking like, who's Melvin Ingram? Mark Ingram.
I told you I got that.
Wake up there.
It's a slow morning for me this morning.
I see. Wake up now.
No, but anyway, Mark Ingram Yeah, don't believe. If I remember correctly, Michael Thomas is also not playing
Yes,
in this
he's out as
game.
well.
So yeah,
Chris Olave is stepping up like I expected
he
him to
is.
be,
He's definitely
and
stepping
at
up.
the moment he might be in the league for rookie offensive player of the year so
Oh,
far.
for sure.
I know it's just 4
And
games
I'm
for the season,
actually
but
I'm actually really mad because we were talking about the bets that we put this place this morning, and that was one of the bets I meant to place with all the people out. I knew they were going to be throwing the ball to him, and I should have taken the over on that. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
here nor there on that one. You know how it is when it comes to the betting scene. You have to go with the gut, even if you're wrong.
Man,
You want to make sure you say, "Hey, at least I went with my gut," because if you win, you say, "Hey, I trusted in myself." So when you lose, you got to trust in yourself and lose as well. That is how I see it when it comes to the betting scene. As you can see, the Vikings are a 4-point favorite. So if you do want to test out that money line, you're more welcome to put some money over there. I want to stay away from that game. Actually, if I'm being honest, I don't want to stay away from that game. We'll talk about that later on if I was a betting man. But overall, again, with some of the prop bets they have within that game, I want to stay away. Those London games are kind of tricky. Majority of the times they're shootouts. Sometimes they're low scoring games. Majority of times they're not. They're mostly high scoring games. But again, with this game, it looked wonky going into that game, and as it's still playing out right now, as a team total is only 20 points so far, and it's
it
just
doesn't look that
not.
great.
It's not what I'm sorry. It is everything that I expected it to be, which is not high scoring, no explosive offensive plays, and just a dud of a game. And again, if you're if you're trying to bet the under, hey, shout out to you. All right, let's go ahead and move on to. Let's be real. Just looking at this game is probably making you want to throw up because it's just not a good looking game to look forward to. But this probably might be one of the more entertaining games when it comes down to it. This probably could go down to last second drive, last second possession, whoever has the ball to win this game. As you can see, the Browns are a 1-point favorite as road favorites. Atlanta has played some very close games throughout the season, and they have been they have been a team that I've spoken about throughout the season to say, hey, look out for the Falcons. I know they're not going to win 11, 12, 13 games, not what I'm saying, but they will win about 6, 7 games and will surprise a couple of teams that they're not supposed to beat. And maybe this could be that game for them. We saw it last week where they were able to beat the Seahawks. Don't get me wrong, the Seahawks, I think they are a good team. And again, them playing home, they probably should have won that game. But the Falcons found a way to win that game. I feel as though that they will do the same at home. We're used to the Falcons finding a way to fail, right? Finding a way to mess it up and lose the lead. I think they do the opposite here. I think they find a way to win this game and pull one from the Browns.
Yeah, like you said, it could be one of the more entertaining games. It could be one of the faster games because you got two offenses that are really high as far as rushing yards in game. Cleveland's number 1, Atlanta is number 5. But you also have two teams that score a lot of points and give up a lot of points. Cleveland scores the 6th amount of points. Atlanta scores 9th, their 9th highest. But Cleveland's defense is 23rd when it comes to points allowed, and Atlanta's defense is 26th when it comes to points allowed. So definitely this could be a high-scoring game, also a fast game. The one thing that tipped the scale for me as far as to the Browns, because like you, I went back and forth. I thought this was pretty much a toss-up. I believe Cordell Patterson is out this game.
No,
he's going to be limited.
He's going to be limited. He's coming in questionable, but he should be playing. And that's somebody that honestly is the game changer for the Falcons. It's not just Kyle Pitts. It is Cordell Patterson. I mean, I don't know what has gotten into Cordell Patterson this season. But I mean, he is playing like a guy that deserves a 4-year, $80+ million contract. Man. He is versatile. He is what Taysom Hill wishes he could be. I'm being honest.
Carrying the team. He's carrying the team, though. He is carrying the team. He's helping them a lot. He creates a lot of mismatches. He creates a lot of situations that they're able to benefit from. But I believe he's limited, if not out. And in that situation, I just have to go with the Browns over the Falcons. I don't know that they'll be able to do it without him, but we'll have to wait and see.
No, I'm reading it right now. 6 hours ago, his status is as Cordell Patterson's knee. Plans to suit up on Sunday, but his status could come down to the wire. So
I don't like
literally
those.
to the wire. I mean, we will see what happens. Of course, it really seems as though what happens in warmups with him, how his knee is responding. That's really what will happen. That's really what will come down to see if he actually plays this game. I'll be honest with you, Ish. I think he plays. And again, that's something we'll talk about too, of course, on Tuesday's show. Of course, when it comes to the injury, the obvious sports talk that's been talked about all weekend long. Of course, Tua and his head injury. We felt as though we shouldn't talk about that right now on this show that we have on the Sunday. We'll wait until Tuesday to talk a little bit more about that. We'll also have some guests as well to come in and talk a little more about that as well, too, former players. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about that moving forward. But yes, when it comes to players playing through injury, unfortunately, it's a part of the game. It's a part of football. It's a part of what makes people love the game, because they look at people that play football as gladiators, as guys that are warriors that have to play amongst adverse situations to be able to, of course, win and also take care of their families. It's a lot of intertwinings that go on when it comes to playing this game and also trying to make a living from it. So it's very interesting when you break it down. That's how I see it. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to, of course, the most valuable franchise in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, take on the Washington Commanders. And the Washington Commanders will also be debuting their black uniforms. So I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming the Cowboys will be home white and the Commanders will wear their all blacks. So that'd be a decent little camera op regarding uniforms. But other than that, it feels like the Cowboys should take care of business at home. I know I've talked about this plenty of times, and I will still continue to talk about this, but for some reason, Cowboys do not play well at home. They find ways to lose at home. This is a Commanders team that doesn't, to be honest with you right now, I don't think they scare too many people. I know they don't scare me. 1-2 at the moment. Probably could be 2-1. Probably could be 0-3. That's just how this team looks right now. And with Cooper Rush, he's at the moment, he is 3-0 as a starter. He is now the third Dallas Cowboy to become a 3-0 starter, his first three starts. And that's, of course, following Mr. Roger Staubach and, of course, the other redhead assassin, Mr. Jason Garrett. So if we know what will happen in 20 years from now, we know that Cooper Rush probably might be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys in about 25 years. If this history repeats itself. Yeah, there you go. If the Super Bowl, if history repeats itself, seems as though the Cowboys should look forward to another Super Bowl, and also Cooper Rush being their head coach in about 20 years. But on a serious note, Cooper Rush has an opportunity to do what none of those quarterbacks are able to do for the Cowboys, and that's go 4-0. And I think he's able to do that this week, beating the Commanders. I think they rely on their running game. I think, and we talked about this Ish, ever since Dak has been out, they have had to run their offense through the running game. And to be honest with you, it has looked beautiful because you're able to split the carries amongst Zeke and Pollard to where they're not wearing both of those guys down, keeping them fresh. And Tony Pollard runs like a guy with his hair on fire, and I love the way that both of these guys run. I love the way, of course, Zeke is able to be able to contribute to the pass blocking scheme for the Cowboys. He's probably the best running back when it comes to pass blocking as a running back. And other than that, the Cowboys defense is going to do what they do. The run defense, though, is what I'm worried about with the Cowboys, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for the most part, if the Cowboys do what they need to do, of course, man-child, Mr. Micah Parsons, if he does what he needs to do, Commanders should come up short.
Yeah, for me, you pretty much hit the nail on the head when you talked about The rushing from the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they like to use the run to set up everything else, and I just feel like in this game, more so than anything else, that's going to be the difference maker. The Commanders haven't been very good against the run, and to be honest, there's a reason for that. They face 3 teams that are in the top 10 in rushing, so it hasn't been an easy road for them by any means, but I think it doesn't get easier when you got to play the Cowboys, who have a good 1-2 punch that like to run the ball. They like to get downhill. And Carson Wentz in that offense, they've been, I guess, okay. Yeah. Slightly below average, maybe. It's the turnovers that really have been killing them. They're I think 28th or so in the league in turnovers, so 29th in the league in turnovers. So the turnovers, not being able to stop the run, it's just kind of one of those things where you put yourself in a bad situation when you're allowing teams to get up on you, and then you're turning the ball over, and then they're just running the ball on you. I think in Washington, they still got a little bit more time. They need to figure things out, really find their identity, and get back to what they were a couple years ago when they were able to win the NFC East.
Honestly, I feel like that opportunity is long and gone. I think the pieces they had at that time allowed them to win the East. I think right now, they're scrambling in Washington. You would think, what, 30 Ron Rivera, 30 year now with the Washington Commanders now. He's implemented his system. What you expect as a football player, and it's just not looking like it's turning. No pun intended. The riverboat is not making a turn.
Oh goodness.
So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Ron Rivera gets fired at the end of the season.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So we'll see what happens in Washington, and also we'll see what happens with the new coach, if there's a new coach in the works. All right, let's go ahead and move on. And Ish, I'll let you start this one off first. Seahawks versus Lions. Lions start off as a 3.5 point home favorite for the first time in a very long time. Ish.
Yeah, for me, it's just a situation of you've got a team that scores a lot of points versus a team that doesn't score a lot of points. And when you combine that with not very good defense, that's what you got in Seattle. That's the rebuild they currently have. They're not playing great defense, and they don't know how to score points. Yes, that's to be expected when you got Geno Smith as your quarterback. So I got the Lions, even with all the injuries. I was just looking at the list of people that were out, and I was like, well, dang, I probably should have picked the Seahawks. But then I remembered that the Seahawks don't know how to play offense, and they can't stop anybody on defense. I mean, when you think about Swift is out, Amon-Ra St. Brown is out.
Mm-hmm.
I think who else is out? There's one more person that's out on the Lions team. Yeah, DJ Shark is out as well. So, I mean, I don't know who Jared Goff is going to be throwing to, but whoever it is, they will probably be open and scoring points.
Well, I'm happy you asked that question, because I have the answer for you on if I was a betting man. So we'll go ahead and segue in that a little bit later on.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I got you. I'll just have my little 2 cents on this one. Everything is, say I can't really add too much on that when it comes to, I mean, for the Lions, who are you really going to go to for this game? Because with all the points that you've been putting up, the Lions surprisingly are the number 1 scoring offensive team in the NFL. I know that doesn't sound correct, but the Lions are at 1-2. Which again, that makes the Lions are exactly what the NFL season is so far when it comes to it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. There are some teams out here record-wise that do not match their play. The Chicago Bears should not be 2-1 probably.
Not at all.
It is just some things out here in the NFL that just does not make sense, but it's okay because it's the early part of the season. We'll figure out who's real by week 9, and the other teams will separate themselves by week 12. But it's early part of the season. That's what makes honestly football that great the whole season, because every week matters. Every week the narrative changed by one big win and one big loss. I mean, look at the Miami Dolphins, right? I was just talking about this to Adrian when it comes to, we were just looking at the Miami Dolphins as a darling of a team. All of a sudden Tua gets 2 concussions, and now we're looking at them like with pitchforks. and want to bring that franchise down. How dare you treat Tua that way, right? Within a week-ish, things change. That's just how crazy football is, and that's just I love it. So with this game, the Seahawks, if they were just a little better, I honestly would take the Seahawks, but the Lions are just playing that much better. Even with all the injuries out, I feel as though the Lions will find a way to win this game, especially being at home as well. And it seems like 4 games into the season, they've already had 3 home games. So I know in the back half of that schedule, Lions, you better buckle up because there's gonna be a lot of road games. So I hope y'all okay and ready for that. All right, so as I spoke about when it comes to if I was a betting man, we're gonna go ahead and get to that right quick. And since we have this early game, one of my early bets was over under 42 total points for the Vikings and Saints. I said, of course, take the under. At the moment, of course, if you put $110 down, you get back your 100. At the moment, it seems as though that might hold up. Again, this game isn't over yet. I've seen some crazy things. It is 16-7, so we are trending towards that under. You went ahead and put a little bit of money down. Also, as well, I have over under 53.5 rushing yards for Antonio Gibson. I said take the over, and that was, of course, for the previous Cowboys game we were speaking of. The Cowboys are ranked 16th in rushing defense. I expect Antonio Gibson to step up this game and rush for a little over 53.5 yards. The first couple of seasons, he has not rushed for more than 46. So, yes, I do understand that, hey, this might be a little high. But if the Cowboys are not able to play the way that they should play, as in they should dominate on defense side of the ball. They should dominate the game from start to beginning. If they rattle Carson Wentz and get Carson Wentz to out here and start doing Carson Wentz stuff, then they should win this game. And this bet might look really stupid on Tuesday, and that's perfectly fine with me. But if the Cowboys go out there and play Cowboy football in Jerry Jones land, as in mess it up, and let Antonio Gibson run for a career high 125 yards, I can see that happening too. So go ahead and throw you down 100, win you a quick 100, and thank your boy X for a quick $100. Also, just to, of course, piggyback on that Detroit Lions game that Ish and I was talking about as well. Ish asks, hey, there's no receivers. Who's going to be getting the catches? Well,
who the hell is that?
I agree when it comes to, hey, who's going to be getting the catches? Craig Reynolds is not a receiver. He's actually a running back who will be taking place of DeAndre Swift, who is out. So when it comes to having a check down, most likely Jared Goff will need a check down to get the ball out to. So he will most likely, Craig Reynolds will be getting the ball more than 3 times this game.
Yeah.
Take the over. Go ahead and get you a quick $110. Might not be a sexy name. Might not be a sexy bet. But again, it's something that can definitely easily pocket you some money if you feel as though that Jared Goff needs him an outlet man to be able to dump the ball down to.
I don't know about that one, but okay.
Yeah. It's not about what you know. It's all about what makes us some dough.
Okay.
Yeah, you like that, huh? That's a dad joke right there for you. All right, let's go ahead and get to we go from dad jokes to a dad sad game. Of course, if you are a Titans fan, you know who the dad is, and on that football team, and that's Mr. Taylor Lewan. Mr. Taylor Lewan, of course, is out for the rest of the season with another injury yet again. And with that being said, for Mr. Taylor Lewan, I don't know if he'll be back next season. Ish. I don't know if he'll continue.
He might not.
And I think he might wrap up his career sooner than he would want it to be. I think he's more focused on things outside of football. That's just my opinion. I think he's okay with being able to step away from football. That's just again my opinion. And I think he's done after this. I think who knows, maybe he might come back one more year to just say, I could play one more year. But it happens every year. He gets hurt. He's a hell of a football player, but for a guy that makes the amount of money that he makes as a lineman and continues to get hurt, we got to go ahead and move on from. But anyways, that's just my two cents on that one. Titans visit Indianapolis to face the Colts. The Colts are, I'm pretty sure, will be using the momentum that they were able to acquire last week against the Chiefs, and try to, of course, beat a division foe when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. Ish, how do you feel about this game?
I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you because we all know TITANS Titans the best, and I believe the Tennessee Titans gonna win this game. Not because I think that the Tennessee Titans are this great team, not because of any stats. I just think that pick a team here and just hope for the best, because both of them, you just don't know what you're gonna get at this point in the season. They both are trying to figure it out. They both have shown glimpses of what made us think that they were going to be competing at the top end of the AFC South, and then they both have shown us that they might not even be in the conversation for the AFC South. So at this point, I'm not even going to look at stats for either one of these teams. I'm going to look at, hey, we've got Derrick Henry. We know how to control the ball. We know Ryan Tannehill knows what he's doing. This receiving core can only get better as the season goes along, and that is why I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I honestly don't have anything else against that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win this game. It's kind of one of those games for me where we're going to find out a lot about these two teams after this game, and then that will give us, a little bit more to pick them later in the season. Right now, it's just one of those where it's like division rivals going against each other. Who knows what's going to happen?
I mean, you are correct, but again, me knowing this team, the Tennessee Titans, when it comes to the division rival, when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts, if you're going to beat the Colts, it's most likely going to be an away game. I know it sounds surprising because for whatever reason, the Colts beat the Titans at home. I don't know what it is. But I feel as though this year is different. I think they still split, but I think it's home and home. I think the Colts take care of business here. I think the Titans take care of business when they go back to Nashville. The Colts aren't that special. The Titans honestly ain't that special this at this point of the season. I agree when it comes to this game, could go either way. I just think the Colts are just a 3.5 point favorite better than Titans, and that's why I went ahead and went with the Colts. Again, we'll see what happens after the game is over and see who is it going to be competitive? Is one team going to take off from one team? That's really what we're going to have to see within that game to see if we can take one of these teams seriously in the AFC South. Because right now, it looks like the team we're about to talk about right now might be the best team in that division, which is kind of crazy to say at this point of the season, because coming into the season, let's be real, I don't think a lot of people took the Jags that seriously.
Yeah, I don't know if people really took them seriously, although they did make a lot of moves in the offseason. So I think they were one of the teams that it was a wait and see approach. Let's see how they turn out. And honestly speaking, to this point in the season, man, they have really turned things around. It's been a lot better, especially on the defensive side. They're doing really well defensively. They're flying around. They're making plays. They're able to get pressure on the quarterback. So they're definitely a team to watch, and for all those reasons, that's why I have them beating the Eagles today. I just don't think the Eagles are. I know the Eagles won't go undefeated. I'm just going to say that. I know they won't go undefeated. I think this is a game that's set up for Jacksonville to go into Philly, win this game, get a little bit of revenge, I guess, for Doug Peterson, going back to his old stomping grounds. With his new toy, Trevor Lawrence, who he's now, trying to bring up to where he brought Carson Wentz when he was able to take them to the Super Bowl. So I think, they've got all the makeups to beat this Eagles team. They've got a great running 1-2 punch and running the game. James Robinson has been running like a madman ever since, I guess, Travis Etienne was said to be one of the top backs. And then James Robinson said, no, I'm going to keep this job. All the wide receivers have been playing out of the lights out. I mean, they got rid of LaVisca Chenault, and a lot of people were like, well, what's going to happen? And, everybody they picked up has played out of their mind. So whoever's doing the scouting for Jacksonville and recommending these signings, other teams, y'all might want to poach that guy, because they've been doing what they need to do, and I think they win this game in Philly.
I respect that. I respect the bold take. I will say on some of your reaches this past couple of weeks in the NFL season, looks like we have a nice fan walking in to XtalknIsh. Want to just make an appearance right quick. Some of your reaches that you've had have been kind of head scratching and laughable, but this one was a very respectable take. If you do recall last week, this guy did take the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Chargers, and that did happen. It could happen here as well too. The main thing I would take from this game, besides the 6.5 points that the Eagles are favored by, is the weather conditions. This game will be 18-mile-per-hour winds with rain. So when it comes to looking out for this game, I would see that it might not be as much passing. Might have to be most things have to be on the ground. That
Jacksonville, the place to Jacksonville.
That probably favors the Eagles, though. I mean, they're rushing. The Eagles' rushing attack is okay.
Jacksonville has the number one rushing defense.
I understand that. So again, something's going to have to break, right? So we're going to have to see if the Eagles rushing game is that real, or if the Jacksonville defense is that real as well too. We have to see. Some of these games that we've seen over the last couple of weeks are measuring sticks. We saw with Miami and Buffalo last week, and we're going to see it as well in the next game we're going to talk about soon, which will be the Bills and the Ravens game. When it comes to some of these games being measuring sticks, to see how real some of these teams are regarding the rankings. Because let's be real, some of these rankings and numbers again, they're still flucting. They're not.
Oh yeah, it's still early. It's still very early.
So we don't know just yet. But Jacksonville
has the pieces in place.
They have the great pieces in place to be able to not just win this game, but also maybe make a run in the AFC in the playoffs. Again, maybe we'll see what happens. But right now, I respect Ish's bold take of an upset in Philadelphia, and that should be the headline on Monday morning. It probably won't be because, of course, other things that have gone on in this week of football. But I'm taking the Eagles to win this game at home. This is a big game for a guy like A.J. Brown. Let me finish. For him to prove to people outside of Philadelphia that he can catch the ball in bad weather conditions and catch it consistently. One knock on him in Tennessee was that he was not a consistent catcher when it comes to making those easy catches. I talked about this with CeeDee Lamb, a guy that likes making these hard, difficult catches, the oh my God catches, but just can't make the simple 3-yard slant catch and make 10 yards after the slant, after catching a slant. A.J. Brown playing in adverse weather conditions has an opportunity to showcase his skill set yet once again and show everyone that, look, I can catch the ball even in severe weather, because Philadelphia, he will be playing outside, and Philadelphia is a place that will be snowing later on in the season. They're going to be depending on him to still be that number one wide receiver. So I think that's a guy as well to look out for to see what type of game he has. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a game which I'm surprised. I'll let Ish talk about this first. I'm surprised the way that Ish is leaning towards this one, just because, again, Ish likes strong curveballs in this show. So I'll let Ish start off on this one.
Yeah, the Jets, man. I think the Jets have a decent team. Joe Flacco has been kind of Jekyll and Hyde early on, but we'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, what made me make this decision is I just don't think the Steelers are very good. If I'm just being honest, I just don't think the Steelers are very good. They don't really do anything that great. Actually, they do everything poorly. 22nd in passing defense, 28th in rush defense, 28th in passing yards, 23rd in rushing yards. I mean, they just don't do much. They don't do anything that great. And I think, for one thing, the Jets, they have been able to move the ball. They've been scoring some points against teams and making some headway. And I think for that reason, even in Pittsburgh, the Jets will somehow find a way to win this game. I don't know why I think that. I just think that they're gonna find a way. Even though they spurred me last week, they really made me look bad picking them to beat the Bengals, and then they just came out and laid an egg. But they're gonna repay me this week by beating the Steelers at home.
Laid a big egg. I'm hoping that when this game starts, that I hope the Steelers go by like 21-0, and I get a text from you just doing this. I'm be like, Ish, I'm gonna need you not to pick the Jets no more. You bad
I'm gonna
juju
have
for them boys. But on a serious note, I expect the Steelers to win. I don't know about how much, let's just say by at least a touchdown. And I'll also say this as well. I'll say this. What we're all really looking to for this Pittsburgh Steelers team is when is Kenny Pickett going to start? That's really what we're all looking forward to, right? Because Steelers are 1-2. I'm not saying that the Steelers are not patient, but I'm also saying that they know what they have in Kenny Pickett, and maybe they want to interject that spark into the offense sooner rather than later. So one or two things could happen. The Jets could pull off the upset, and we can maybe see a Kenny Pickett first start of the season next week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, what's his name? Mitch Trubisky has such a bad performance against the Jets that he gets pulled for Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett takes the job and never looks back.
You know what? That's what I'm gonna say. That's why I picked the Jets. I'm picking the Jets so that Kenny Pickett can start. That's why I'm picking the Jets.
Okay. Again, I respect that type of mindset because, again, Mitch Trubisky, he's playing okay. He's not playing great. He's not playing horrible. He's playing okay. He's 62 for 103, 569 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, it's okay.
But what do y'all expect from Mitchell Trubisky? What do y'all expect? Did y'all expect this man to be a world beater? Like, come on. What did y'all expect?
Well,
this is good.
As scout honor, I will say that I expected Mitch to be a little better due to coming from the Brian Daboll system, being around Josh Allen, being around that Bills offense. I felt as though mentally
you thought he was absorbing. He was watching. He was just absorbing the knowledge. That's
how you get better.
Josh Allen.
That's how you get better. Am I wrong?
The film with Josh
Am I wrong? Is that not how you get better? Is that not how you get better? As
you also have to have the talent, but
you're not right. I mean, you're not wrong either. You have to have some type of talent as well to be able to be like a Josh Allen. So my point is that with Mitch, I thought that, and hopefully that would translate over to Steelers. Also, Steelers coaches would help put them in positions to be able to be successful on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like that's happening so far.
No.
It just looks like Kenny Pickett might just be a better overall quarterback than Mitch, and that's okay. Hey, Mitch, go get your money and go ahead and go be on a Fox Network or ESPN network.
I think he's a solid backup. He can play a couple games here or there, give you a solid performance, but to rely on this man as the starting quarterback to really carry your team, that's not the guy. I'm sorry.
No, I 1,000% agree. And this reminded me of the Sam Darnold situation in Carolina last year.
Yep.
You get a new opportunity somewhere. You get the keys handed to the new Lamborghini, and you already scraped it up the wheels.
Adam Thielen hurt.
Oh Lord,
he's limping around.
Oh Lord.
It does not look good.
Oh Lord. And again, you get this new car. You get an opportunity to drive it, and you already mess it up, and your insurance already skyrocketing. That's how I see it with Mitch. And like you said, he might just be a career backup, and that's okay. Two guys that won't be career backups anytime soon, Mr. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, face off once again. And we would hope, another epic offensive performance from both of these two guys. This is a game I really want to stay away from when it comes to betting wise, because when it comes to a game like that, I expect the unexpected. I expect and I hope all the offensive firepower to happen and everything to be epic. But then when I expect that and I want to have that and it doesn't happen, and then I lose my money because I bet that to happen and it doesn't happen, I'm going to be upset, not just on the game, but also I'm lost my money. So, like you said, you might have to expect the unexpected in this game, because it could be a 17-14 game. Nobody might not score anything when it comes to multiple touchdowns and multiple deep runs and whatnot as Lamar Jackson has done over these last couple of weeks. But overall, let's be real. We know that both of these teams are going to put up at least minimum of 20 points probably each. And it should be maybe who has the ball in the last possession type of thing. Again, we'll see. Again, it should be a very interesting type of matchup. I'm excited to watch it. Of course, Fracture One says, "Hey, you got to pay that man." We know who we're talking about, but we also know too that this is one thing I think people got to understand on social media. I know they know this. I know they're just saying this, but I don't pay Lamar nothing. That's not my job. That's Y'all got to talk to Baltimore in their front office. That ain't us. I know that's what you're talking about, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know what's stopping Baltimore from signing Lamar for whatever. I don't know if it's Lamar want more. I don't know if he's waiting. The real thing is next year the CBA goes. I mean, the money wise within quarterbacks contracts go up within the CBA, and that's what he really could be waiting on is to get a bigger check because of the rollover to next year within the CBA. So he could just be playing a long game, and Baltimore knows that. He knows that. The Baltimore and Lamar letting media spin it the way they want to, and who knows? Maybe he can get a $300 million guaranteed. Maybe that's what he's overall waiting on. But at the moment, Lamar is balling and he's playing MVP type level again, once again, maybe even better. And this is another measuring stick game. It seems like another game for the Bills. They just, of course, got out of one with the Miami Dolphins. But this game as well, this one might be bigger than the Miami Dolphins game for the Bills because this is MVP 1 and MVP 2, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And ish overall, do you hope or do you expect this game to live up to the hype?
I don't know. The last time these teams played was in the 2021 divisional round, and that game was 17-3. We all know what the weather conditions were like. So, I mean, it kind of led to that situation. But at the same time, I think this is a revenge game for the Ravens, and especially Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson didn't necessarily have the greatest day that in that game. I mean, he went 14 for 24, 162 yards with the interception, 9 attempts for 34 yards rushing. I just think that, for the Ravens and for Lamar Jackson, this is a big statement as far as being contenders in the AFC. This is a situation where you got to go out, you got to make some noise. And I understand the concerns about the Ravens defense. I know what they have been doing throughout the season, but I'll also say that early on in that Miami game, nobody was complaining about the Ravens defense. Everybody thought, oh man, here the Ravens go, look at them again. And then they had that debacle to end the game off. But I will say that this defense has what they need to be a defense that can help Lamar Jackson in that offense. And I think that they just need to do it for 4 quarters. They have to put a complete game together on the defensive side. I think this is the game where you see them stepping in the right direction. This is the game where all of the motivation, everything is there because everybody's been really calling you out. Everybody's been pointing you out as the reason why the team hasn't been winning, as the reason why Lamar Jackson isn't getting some of the praise that he deserves, because the record right now doesn't reflect that. He's 2-1. He should be 3-0. And I think the defense is going to take that personally. They're going to put it on their back, and they're going to try to make plays against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I expect the Buffalo Bills to move the ball, do what they need to do, but I think it's going to be a clutch turnover somewhere in the game that's going to help the Ravens kind of take it over the top.
And we all know it's usually when it's a high-performance offense from both teams, it usually is who's going to turn the ball over the most that usually loses that game. I mean, most of the time, obviously, that's any football game. But usually that who turns the ball over once or twice to give the other team that extra possession or two usually goes on winning that game. Fracture One also says, I got the Bills in this one. Ravens defense needs to step it up if they want to win. He also says, but if the Bills lose, the new question will be, are the Bills frauds?
No, not at all. I mean, they would have lost to who? The Dolphins, and they would have lost to the Ravens, which those are two teams that for
two
me,
top AFC teams.
Yeah, they're top AFC teams. So if the Bills lose to the Chiefs, would we be like, oh, the Bills are frauds? No, we would just say like, oh, can't wait for them to play in the playoffs.
They're all in that same
category
of teams within that conference. So
yeah, so I mean, they could
each team could beat each team on any given weekend. What you're saying?
Yeah, I mean. And I think, you know, if one wins in the regular season, it's one of those things where, just like with the Dolphins, shoot, I can't wait for that turnaround game to see how the Bills come out and play the Dolphins when they play at home against the Dolphins. So it's just one of those things where I'm not saying they're frauds. It's just going to be like, hey, that week the other team had a better game plan than them. Now, if they went out and lost to somebody like, even though we're saying like, oh, you need to respect them, but like Atlanta, then maybe I'm looking at them a little bit different and saying, yo, that's not a game to drop. Not a game
you're supposed to lose. No, I got you. Kind of like this game right here, even though the Chargers have plenty of guys out and some key injuries to some key players, this isn't a game they're supposed to drop. If you're the Chargers, let's go ahead and try to get into Houston, get out of Houston with a win with minor even more added casualties as well. Looks like Joey Bosa will be out for the next 8 to 10 weeks with his groin injury. Keenan Allen is out for this game as well. Justin Herbert is still battling his rib cartilage injury. News reports saying that he's feeling better, but he's still trying to work around the injury itself within his ribs and pretty much just throw around his ribs. With that being said, it's probably going to be an easy game for the Chargers. I don't say easy. I'll say a respectful game for the Chargers. Get in, get out. Go ahead and move on to the next week ish.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I don't care if half their team was out. I think that they're going to win this game. I thought about potentially, this is a perfect game for the Texans to sneak a win in, right? This is the kind of game that you would say, oh, yeah, here it is. This is their game. This is their opportunity to get one.
Yes, Fracture Walnut says this one, too, is Slater done for the year, too. That one hurts the most to me. Yes, offensive tackle, yes, Rashawn Slater out for the year. Yeah, that's one of those where it probably wouldn't make big news, but yeah, that's a big blow for the Chargers. And right now, my MVP pick for Vegas wise, got to put a little money down in Vegas for Mr. Herbert to go to win MVP. It's not looking too well, so we'll see what happens on that one. Excuse me. Also, another game where again should take care of business, get in, get out. Patriots and Packers. I'll let you start off with this one first before I wrap this up.
Yeah, for the Patriots, I mean, that offense, there's still so many question marks. Now you got Jacoby Myers out. I just don't know how they're going to score a lot of points to keep up with the Packers. And it seems like the Packers are starting to figure it out. We've been talking about the young receiving core. We know Sammy Watkins is out. We were talking about how, you know, who's going to step up for that receiving core. And Romeo Doubs had a big game last week. I expect that to continue. And for them to keep moving the ball, doing what they need to do, running the ball especially. So I think the Packers are going to win this game. And Patriots, they just really need to figure it out.
Also, one thing you forgot to add is with the Patriots, you won't be starting Mac Jones this week.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Hoyer, first time starting since against the Kansas City.
That's why they might win.
That is not why they will not. They will win. Brian Hoyer is what New England expects to have as a career backup, a guy he is synonymous with being the backup guy in New England over there with Tom Brady for years. And he comes in there, he'll put in an okay performance, won't be enough to beat Aaron Rodgers, and that offense will be ran through the running backs the same way the Dallas Cowboy offense as well. And the Packers will definitely take care of business against the Patriots. Broncos Raiders matchup in the AFC West. At the moment, I mean, and we'll wrap this up quickly. We talked about this before the season started. The AFC West is supposed to be the greatest division to ever touch football. And right now, it is looking very lackluster. The Raiders are the only team without a win. the Broncos look very underachieving as well. And also just looks like, and again, even with the Broncos being 2-1, I know it sounds crazy. We thought, again, I said this earlier, when it comes to wacky things are going on in the NFL, the Broncos probably should be 1-2, maybe even 0-3 with some of the play that they've been playing over the last couple of weeks. But it seems as though that whatever's going on with Russ, offensive coordinator, of course, young Kubiak, and the head coach, Mr. Nathaniel Hackett, it just doesn't seem like it's meshing correctly. And it seems as though if this doesn't get fixed now and nip it in the bud now, it's going to cause for somebody to get fired later on in the season, or maybe somebody to get hurt due to horrible play calling amongst the Broncos-ish.
Yeah, I just think that this one is two underachievers in the AFC West, but I think the Raiders have looked better than the Broncos. I think the Broncos still have a lot to
and they're 0-3.
Yeah, the Raiders, I mean, but it's one of those things where you got to beat the teams that are in front of you, right? And the Broncos have done that at least 2 times, and the Raiders just have been unlucky. They had one that slipped away against the Cardinals, but you know, they haven't looked horrible. They just don't seem to be quite all the way there yet, and they've been unlucky in the teams they played against. But against the Broncos, I expect them to win this game. They look like the better of the 2 teams. They play like the better of the 2 teams, and coaching-wise, it seems like they actually know what they're doing on that sideline, whereas in Denver, there are question marks for sure.
Well,
so
it's still question marks on Josh McDaniels. I don't know. We'll see. If you go 0-4, we definitely got to look at the Raiders a lot differently now, because I picked the Raiders because they have to win this game. This is a must-win. You can't go 0-4.
New Orleans is taking the lead.
You go 0-4. Oh, Lord. And that over-under is not looking good right now either.
I think you're good. They're in the 4th quarter.
We'll see what happens. But again, with the Raiders, if you go 0-4 again, you might as well just get ready for next season. You're not making playoffs. You're not winning the division, so might as well just pack it up for next season. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with Sunday Night Football. Chiefs Bucks. I'll let Ish start off with this one. Of course, this is his team.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the good fan, and I'm gonna pick the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs really need this game as a bounce back game. They really want to. You got to beat a team like Tampa Bay. Going back to Tampa Bay, get some revenge for the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, even though I don't feel too great about this game. I know Tampa Bay isn't really scoring points, although they have the best defense as far as points allowed at only 9 points a game. So something's got to give here. I think that's the big point of this game. And we know that as up and down as the Bucks seem, when the Bucks are in prime time and Tom Brady's in prime time, they're going to show up and play.
They're going to show up.
I'm hoping to see a performance similar to the early performance that Patrick Mahomes had in the Super Bowl year against the Buccaneers, where they just come out, they let it all go, and they don't hold it back. Because I feel like the past couple of weeks they've been holding things back. They've been trying to play like the smart tactician,
conservative.
Yeah, no, they just need to let it go, let it fly. Let's make some plays, and then that's how they'll win this game. But if they try to come out and play some sort of chess match against the Buccaneers, expect the Buccaneers to win this game.
Buccaneers, of course, will be adding back Mike Evans from his 1-game suspension. Like you said, with the Bucs and Tom Brady playing on prime time, they just show up. Even though they're only being a 1-point favorite, wouldn't surprise me at all. A little extra motivation regarding the hurricane. I know a lot of people probably forgot about that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. That would help win this game as well. So I'm taking the Bucs in prime time. No disrespect to the Chiefs. I know how good they are. It's just Tom Brady, man. You know how that goes. We'll finish it up with "Don't Be Upset." Even though I didn't pick the Jags to beat the Eagles, I'm picking the Jags to say, watch out. That could be my upset pick of the week. Ish, I know you did make 2 upset picks, really.
Yes, I did.
Which was the Jags. It was the Jags over the Eagles, but you also picked the Jets. Let me know which team are you picking?
For my "Don't Be Upset," I think the Jags over the Eagles is the pick. I agree with you. That's the most likely one to happen because the Jags are playing. They're playing well. They got the defense set up. I mean, everything's there for them to do well. So I think, the Jags over the Eagles is the pick. The Jets one is more out there. I'm using my Doctor Strange fortune telling on that one.
Okay, respect. Just don't let people in Vegas know about that. You have any extra advantage to try to take their money. All righty, then that'll do it for Sunday morning, week 4 slate. A little preview. We'll of course be back on Tuesday night to recap everything, and of course recap the unfortunate scary situation with Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah,
we will talk more about that with you guys on Tuesday. That might be a little bit over of an hour show because of just everything we'll have to talk about. Also, Fracture One says, if the Jags beat the Eagles, will y'all consider them a true contender or just getting starry and next year will be their year?
So for me, I think that it depends on what you're considering them a contender for. I don't think they will be a contender to win the AFC, but I think they will definitely be a contender to win the AFC South and possibly win like a first round game.
I'll say this. If we saw what happened with the Bengals last season, I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence could take them to the Super Bowl, but I'm saying that any season, why not?
Yeah,
why not?
I mean,
why not?
Especially in the AFC South, right?
I'm not. And look, you don't have to be a contender. Being a contender doesn't mean you have to be a contender for 20 years like the Patriots. Like, you don't have to do that. If you could be a contender for 2 years and get to a Super Bowl, again, there's some franchises out here that haven't been to a Super Bowl in 60 plus years. All some teams want, or all fans want for some teams to do is just to get to a Super Bowl. If you could do that for Jacksonville, that's a winning season. That's a winning season, period. So if Doug Peterson gets an opportunity to take the team to a Super Bowl, he's done his job, and he'll be taken care of. But anywho, as always, again, we will see y'all on Tuesday at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. See y'all next time.
Peace.